Hello and welcome to Battle of the Albums. 1987 saw the last release with Fish on vocals for Marillion with Clutching at Straws. Before 1989, a new album, Season's End, a new vocalist with Steve Hogarth from the Europeans. It also spawned 3 UK singles, which were Hooks in You, Uninvited Guest and Easter, and it entered the UK album chart at number 7. It was recorded in Oxfordshire at the Hook End Recording Studios, and the artwork was by Bill Smith Studios. They kept the old logo, but the front was a complete difference from the Mark Wilkinson previous albums. Now, Fish also released an album, but in 1990, because it was EMI's wish, because he was still on the EMI records, to push it back to 1990, so that Season's End came out first. It spawned 3 UK singles, and they were The Big Wedge, State of Mind and A Gentleman's Excuse Me. It entered the UK album charts at number 5. Now, the cover art on the front is typical Marillion. It's by Mark Wilkinson, and it was recorded at the Townhouse Studios in London. Okay, so Marillion's Season's End album has the exact same lineup apart from Steve Hogarth on vocals as the Clutching at Straws album. Obviously that's Pete Traverse on bass, Ian Mosley on drums, Mark Kelly on keys and Steve Rothery on guitar. Fish's first solo album, A Vigil in a Wilderness of Mirrors, he's assembled a team there with Frank Usher on guitar. Frank Usher's played with Fish through the years since. We've got John Giblin on bass, Mark Brizetic on drums, he's obviously famous from Big Country. We've got Mickey Simmons on keyboards, and then there's some guest appearances from other musicians, namely Hal Linds on guitar. He's played with Dire Straits. We've got Janet Gers on guitar, obviously he's now with Iron Maiden, and John Kimball on drums, and he's played with Spandau Ballet. Vigil in a Wilderness of Mirrors starts off with the first track, Vigil, at 8 minutes and 43 seconds, a track credited to Fish and his keyboard player Simmons. It's quite a long track, it's got a military feel. I believe the song is inspired by a poem by T.S. Eliot about misinformation. It's a brooding start, nice clear lyrics. Fish there on his soapbox once again. It's got a good hook and it's sing-along. It's an excellent track. Now, the first track on Marillion's Season's End is a track called The King on Sunset Town, credited to all the band, and a guy called John Helmer was brought into the band to write some lyrics for Season's End before Steve Hogarth joined the band. It's believed to be inspired by the troubles in China and Tiananmen Square in 1989. It's a slow building start. It's obviously Marillion. If you've got Clutching at Straws and you put this on, there's no doubt that it's Marillion on this album. So again, it's got a military style, a military drum pattern in there. It's a good strong opener on both albums. Okay, Vigil. Track 2 is Big Wedge, which was a single for Fish, got to number 25 in the UK singles charts. It's credited to Fish and his keyboardist Simmons. I believe the lyrics were floating about when he was still in Marillion and rejected because they're about policies etc. in USA, in America, and Marillion were trying to break in America at the time, so they rejected them. So he's brought them to this album with the song Big Wedge. Excellent video, you can catch that on YouTube. It's quite catchy, bouncy, brilliant. Easter is track 2 on Season's End, again a single for Marillion. Got to number 34 in the UK singles charts, credited to all the band, but I believe Hogarth brought the lyrics with him before he started. It's a slow acoustic start, believed to be inspired by the troubles in Northern Ireland at the time. It's a strong song, melancholy, brooding, excellent. Okay, so track 3 on Vigil is another single from Fish, State of Mind. Got to number 32 in the UK singles charts. Comes in at 4 minutes and 42 seconds. It's credited to Fish, Simmons and Linds. I hope that's how you pronounce his name. And the theme is the late Thatcher years. It's good song, mid-tempo. There's some backing vocals from Carol Kenyon in the middle there. Nice Spanish acoustic guitar feel to it as well. Now, track 3 on the Season's End album is another single. Got to number 53 in the UK singles charts, and that's the Uninvited Guest, which I believe's inspired by the AIDS epidemic, which was in the 80s. Credited to the band, and the lyrics again by John Helmer. It's catchy, and I must admit it's my favourite song on the album. It's got an excellent drum pattern by Ian Mosley. Yeah, it's a good song. Okay, track 4 on Vigil is the track The Company, which I believe is a bit of a dig at his last band Marillion, with lyrics like "You tell me I'm free, then you want me to compromise." It's a bit of a pub rant of a song. I've got to be honest, it's not one of my favourites on the album. There's a bit of accordion in the middle by Phil Cunningham, but yeah, it's alright. Track 4 on Season's End is an epic of a track, coming in at 8 minutes and 10 seconds. It's the title track, Season's End. I believe it's about climate change, credited to all of the band. It's got a brooding slow start with lyrics like "We'll tell our children's children why." It changes direction after about 5 minutes, but yeah, it's an epic of a track. Track 5 on Vigil is the single from Fish, A Gentleman's Excuse Me. The single reached number 30 in the UK singles charts, coming in at 4 minutes and 15 seconds. It's accredited to Fish and Simmons. Bit of a ballad, love song if you like, a breaking up song. Track 5 on Season's End is a track called Holloway Girl. It's credited to all of the band, comes in at 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Yeah, it's an excellent track, inspired by the wrongful imprisonment of Judith Ward in Holloway Prison for the 1974 M62 coach bombing. She was released 18 years later. Strong song, good steed robbery, guitar parts in there, good riff. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, track 6 on Vigil is the song I Like to Watch, which is credited to Fish and Simmons, comes in at 4 minutes and 42 seconds. I believe it's a criticism of that little box that sits in the corner of your room so you can watch disasters unfold live. Yeah, it's got a heavy snare drum feel as this song, heavy snare throughout, excellent track. Track 6 on Season's End is Berlin, coming in at 7 minutes and 48 seconds, credited to the band and John Helmer again. Obviously self-explanatory about Berlin and the state of the city before the wall came down. Never been to Berlin, but it's a very atmospheric track. You almost feel you're walking the streets there. Good strong start. There's a bit of saxophone in there as well. Excellent. Okay, track 7 on Vigil is Family Business, coming in at 5 minutes and 14 seconds, credited to Fish, Simmons and Linz, about abuse within the family. Fish, not afraid to tackle any subject, good strong song, good strong lyrics. Track 7 on Season's End from Marillion is, what's it called? After Me, coming in at 3 minutes and 10 seconds, credited to all the band. I think it's a long lost love breakup song if you like. Acoustic start there. If you go on YouTube, there's an excellent rendition of it from the day, back in the day, 1989 at some festival. I think it's Rocksteady. Check it out. Okay, track 8 on Vigil is A View from a Hill, coming in at 6 minutes and 38 seconds. The track is credited to Fish and Jeanette Gers, the guy who plays guitar in Iron Maiden at the moment. I think it's a bit of a dig at Marillion again in the lyrics. Slow acoustic-y start, but then ends in a bit of a rock epic. Track 8 on Season's End is the first single from Marillion, which got to number 30 in the UK singles chart with Hooks in You. Short song at 2 minutes 57. Rocking song. Not very prog. Excellent song, excellent rocking out song. Check that out. There's some footage of Marillion doing the song on Top of the Pops back in the day. Excellent. The last track off the Vigil album is Cliché, coming in at 7 minutes, and it's a track credited to Fish and Simmons, and it's almost like a window from Marillion's track Script for a Jester's Tear. It's got that same sort of feel to the lyrics. It's a haunting track. It's got a bit of a Pink Floyd-y type guitar feel in the middle. Excellent track to finish on. Now the last track on the Season's End album is The Space, and that comes in at 6 minutes and 14. It's credited to the band and 3 members of Steve Hogarth's all band, the Europeans. So it's obviously a track he brought with him when he joined the band, inspired by an incident in Amsterdam, which transferred into some sort of life experience for Steve. It's got a violin type feel in the middle, which reminds me a little bit of the Psycho film for some strange reason, but it's got a very strong ending, and it's an excellent track to finish the album on. Well, that's the end of the show. Just time to pick which album I like the best. Is it Marillion's Season's End? Is it Fish, Vigil in a Wilderness of Mirrors? Obviously Season's End came off the success of Clutching at Straws, and Fish's Vigil album is his first solo album and his most successful. Well, I'm going to go with the Vigil album. It's an excellent album throughout, great lyrics and vocals and musicianship, an excellent album. If you agree, comment below, subscribe and like. Until next time on Battle of the Albums, bye.